What up, Skate? Welcome to Bar Vibes with Bryce the Fourth, giving out raw reactions and interacting with the masses. No subject is safe. You hear the people and the noises, but that's the point, because without the people, what's the point? Embrace them vibrations. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to fucking victory over Washington. I said that there was no chance they were going to let them win this game, and they took it a step further, and they dominated the game. 9 fucking sacks, and they made it look very, very easily, especially in the first half. I've really enjoyed seeing the D-line that I expected to see when the season began, and they literally went out there and fucking flexed on them. They had a goal and they made it, and the goal line stand was also so fucking rewarding to see. And besides Scary Terry, the DBs put in work in the secondary. Carson did not look comfortable the entire game, and honestly, that one touchdown that they scored kind of pissed me off, but it's okay. With all that said, we know what the number one story in this game is, and that will be number one in your programs, number one in your hearts, and that's Jalen Hurts. It is very clear that this man put in the work in the offseason, the work that a lot of quarterbacks don't want to put in and wouldn't want to put in, and his game looks like it's just coming to him so much easier. He's looking extremely poised in the pocket, and while not forgetting that he's a dominant runner as a quarterback, and as long as he remembers that, can't be stopped. I don't want to hear it. Devontae Smith went out there, flexed on y'all, told everyone to shut the fuck about my targets. He had an absolute day against the corners, and A.J. Brown made sure that you remembered that, he's an absolute presence on that field. And I actually had a funny take the other day, and I was like, he honestly, to me, it's like A.J. Brown is just having a happier Terrell Owens. Just a guy who just, he's really good, but he's also not going to be a shithead sometimes off the field, and that's okay. It's absolutely okay. That coupled with the strong day blocking from the O-line and Pascal, a lot of people don't understand that man can block. Like, that was a big reason why Sirianni brought him in, because he remembered him from the Colts. The man can block. Spot the lie. You just got to go look at the tape. Do not get on this bandwagon. And you know who I'm going to keep saying it every fucking week, whether we win or lose. But do not get on this bandwagon. We don't have any more tickets left for anybody. It's sold out. You see what's happening. You're not allowed. If you weren't here before week 1, if you weren't here in the off season, fuck it. If you weren't here when we drafted him, I don't want to hear it. Y'all doubted the potential of my QB1. Keep that fucking energy. Stay right where you were right before week 1. Eagles! Let's go, Birds. Vikings and Lions. It was a very fun game to watch, all the way to the end. And those are the best kind of games to watch. Jared Goff is playing well enough to keep this team afloat, but then they just can't seem to get over the hump where they can control the game and win at the very end. Amon-Ra St. Brown, very entertaining player. When he tried to jump over to do for the goal line thing, I was like, oh shit, this man he means business. The Lions are not good enough on third downs to overcome their issues, and the Vikings were running all over them. Even when Dalvin Cook went out, he had like 96 yards, and then Madison came in and still completed the game. I know that they won the game, but where was Justin Jefferson? It's not a good look to get shut down by Slay, and then you come in the next week and do absolutely nothing. I didn't even know he was on the field, to be quite honest with you. I was wondering if he was hurt. Had to go look it up. No, I think he only had 14 yards. I mean, like I said, they got it done, but it's been a Gritty-less 2 weeks in a row. So, side note for this game, she Gritty's down the hallway. Side note for this game, I think the Vikings have the best touchdown song when they play "Let's Go Crazy" by Prince. It knocks every single time. That thing be slapping. I like that. I like that. Panthers beat the Saints in a sloppy-ass game where if Laviska Shenault doesn't get that 60-yard touchdown or 67-yard touchdown where the Saints players looked like they couldn't even tackle a fucking chair, the Panthers lose, and Baker Mayfield looks even worse. 170 yards and a touchdown, I mean, you're 50%, less than 50% completion percentage. That's garbage. It's trash. He's not good. But the Panthers' defense was on Jameis Winston's fucking heels the entire game. You couple that with the fact that he is actually legit hurt. He has a back injury and an ankle injury. It was clear that they missed Alvin Kamara the past couple weeks, but the offense just couldn't find a rhythm. With Winston barely being able to move, especially when he was forced out of the pocket. He still had well over 300 yards passing, but come on, man. 2 interceptions a game is just not going to get it done, especially when your kicker is missing kicks that need to keep you in this game. It's crazy. Packers pull out a very close win over Tom Brady in the Bucs, and I said I had a feeling that this would come down to defense versus it being Rodgers versus Brady. Neither quarterbacks had a great second half, but if you're the GOAT, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put quotes around that. He is the GOAT. Tom Brady is the GOAT. But if you're the GOAT and your defense holds the team to 14 points, you got to win that game. I get that he doesn't have any receivers that are, big names and stuff like that, but if you're the best, you got to make the best of what you have, regardless of who they are being. It took Brady until the last drive to get a touchdown. I don't care who you are, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get it done. Both teams had the ball for about 30 minutes, so time of possession wasn't a really big thing here. No excuses. Also, the Bucs fucked up my parlay card. I had 7 teams, and they needed to fucking win this game by 2 points. Fuck off, you bastards. The Colts play the Chiefs. I called the outcome of this game in the very worst way when I said that this could easily be a trap game, and it absolutely was. Like my pop said, though, as he's been saying since I was a wee lad, any given Sunday, the Chiefs do miss the dynamic of having Tyreek Hill in their offense, but I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's the play calling. You can see it with Mahomes arguing with his OC, and then Sky Moore putting it on the floor in the first play just doesn't help you. It just puts them, in a hole, and that's a recipe for disaster. Credit to the Colts offense believing in themselves at the end of the game, and Matt Ryan with the dime with less than a minute to go to take them to the promised land. Colts Titans were cooking all game, and their O-line is still pretty good, so great first win for the Colts at home. They're 1-2. The Jags absolutely crumpled the Chargers in a blowout. My first question was, what the fuck? I know Justin Herbert was banged up from last week, but damn, they got fucking dismantled. They got dominated. The Jags were smart on the field to take their points when they had opportunities, and they also didn't give the Chargers a lot of opportunities to retaliate. Herbert had to try to play hero ball without any real big playmakers on the field, and credit to the play calling for Trevor Lawrence. They made sure that the run game got going, and Dougie P clearly knows what he's doing when he has a competent quarterback. Get the best out of him. And I think that's a big fuck you to Urban Meyer, because they very well could have wasted Trevor Lawrence's talent had he been the coach for this team still. Rams got the best of the Cardinals in week 3, and this game really didn't have any glaring news other than that there was a really creative play for Cooper Kupp on the run. He didn't have a big game in the receiving aspect, but Aaron Donald with that fucking sack when he dove for Kyler Murray, that shit was crazy. Behind 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Matt Stafford seems like he got over his injury from the beginning of the season. And I know that Kyler doesn't have a lot of help right now. When D-Hop comes back, it's going to look a lot different. But that's the way it is right now, and it is going to be what it is for the next couple weeks. Ravens get the Pats in a pretty high-scoring game. Lamar Jackson was just too much, like I said he was going to be for the New England defense per usual. 5 total touchdowns. He did have a pick, but that was irrelevant. And their defense learned how to hold onto a late-game lead. It also helps when Mac Jones is throwing up lollipops, interceptions, and their playmakers are fumbling the ball at the worst possible times. It blows my mind when receivers are running and they don't remember that there's going to be somebody running after you. That you gotta listen. You're in the open field. You see 2 people. You know that there's going to be somebody coming off the back end. It makes no sense to me. Action Jackson was diming up his tight ends all day. Duvernay did catch a touchdown, but his return ability is fucking electric. It sucks that the Pats did have to lose Mac Jones literally on their last offensive play. But I will say this: whoever was taking the video and the pictures of him absolutely fucking bawling his eyes out, asking why me. You're a dickhead. That's terrible. The Dolphins climbed to 3-0 over the Bills, and this was the trap game that I called, that I actually got right. Everyone mounted the Bills to be, the Super Bowl favorite after week 2, and the 3 biggest things for me in this game was Tua seemingly having a concussion, and I'm not saying I'm a doctor, but if you watch the video, the man literally got up, shook his head like that, stumbled, and then he just went down. Seems a little concussion to me, but doctor said he didn't have one, came back in the game, so that is irrelevant. 2, the Bills had almost 500 yards on offense to the Dolphins barely having 200. I think they had 219. And the Bills had the ball twice as long as they did, and they still lost the game. How is that That's utterly ridiculous. I don't understand that. Like, they'll be hearing about that all week in meetings. But the other wild thing, which is the funny thing in this game, was the punter absolutely lighting up number 14 in the asshole with the ball on a punt that gave them 2 points and the ball back. Like, it looked like the Dolphins were trying to lose this game, but they buckled down, and that pass to Waddle from Tua was absolute beauty. They didn't even need Hill for this, which is indicative of a team that's pretty good. The Bills lack a running game from their running backs. Outside of Josh Allen running is a big issue. D-line for the Dolphins was on a beam. Also, Xavier Howard is a beast. Bengals get it done against the Jets, and I figured that Joe Burrow would figure it out against a team that definitely was not as talented as them. The offensive line was much better and a lot more efficient, even with Joe Mixon in the run game almost like just disappearing. Joe Flacco was his normal Joe Flacco mediocre self, and after last week with 2 picks and a stagnant offense this week, it just wasn't going to get it done. It's a pretty straightforward win for Cincy. The Browns handle business against the Steelers on Thursday, and rightfully so. Mitch Trubisky looking average as always, and the run game with Nick Chubb for the Browns is just too fucking nasty. Jacoby Brissett is a very smart quarterback, and he does just enough to manage the game and also make a few plays here and there. I enjoyed seeing Amari Cooper have a good game because I know a team who traded him away for peanuts, for a bag of chips and a fucking Huggy, and will definitely miss him as the season moves forward. I'm pissed I didn't start David Njoku this week in fantasy because I lost by 2 points and he had 15, so big fuck you to me for not listening to myself. Falcons showed life against a shitty-ass Seahawks team, but the game was actually kind of not as boring as I expected. Geno Smith didn't actually look like dog shit. Kept him in the game. Mariota did enough, though, to keep him in the game. And Cordell Patterson is fucking running all over the league right now. I'm pretty sure he is second in the league in rushing, which is crazy for a converted wide receiver to running back. I like that he kept the number 84. It looks dope to me. The Seahawks defense right now is historically terrible, which is a wild thing to be thinking about the Seahawks in that aspect because of the Legion of Boom, which was actually pretty far away and in the aspect of the NFL life, and it became smart to put the ball in Kyle Pitts' hands as often as possible. So big ups to you, Falcons. The Titans get a close win over the Raiders, and my first thought from this game is Mac Hollins, where the fuck did you come from? He was absolutely useless in Philly other than special teams, and now you want to have a 150-yard game? Fuck out of here, man. Mistakes were made by both quarterbacks, but Derrick Henry had a pretty solid game with 140 from scrimmage. And to help his offense in that win, the Raiders cannot, for the life of them, put together a complete game. They'll have a great half here and a great half there, a bad half there and a bad half there. The only 0-3 team in all of football, sorry, Ben, after week 3. Broncos get an ugly win over the Niners in one of the weirdest scoring games I've ever seen, but it was not that boring. Jimmy G, he stepped out of the end zone for the classic Orlovsky, and the score being 10-5 at one point was absolutely ridiculous. Mr. Unlimited Wilson, he never stopped making plays. He made sure his guys knew they could win the game, and it was pretty cool to see, but 3 turnovers after the Niners. It seemed to be the reason why San Fran just couldn't pull his game out. Even after winning practically the entire game, the Broncos are just not good. Don't let this win fool you. The Bears beat the Texans on Sunday and became the worst 2-1 team I've possibly seen in recent memory. Justin Fields just does not seem to be able to grasp the concept of making reads or getting the ball out, which is certainly partially faulted towards his coaching. But luckily, they played the bummy-ass Texans. Honestly, Davis Mills looks better than Justin Fields, and that is saying a lot if you watch football. Luckily for the Bears, they had Khalil Herbert, and he was getting it done on the ground, and that is the most glaring reason why the Bears pulled out this W. Good for you, Chicago. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I went 500 last week, and I gotta start trusting my gut a little bit more because I could have got that fucking that Colts game. So I gotta start making sure I pick my underdog picks, but I just gotta trust my core. After watching football so long, I just gotta trust myself. Shout out to Big Dan. What's up, my boy?
Hey, you done?
Almost, my boy. I got you. Let's get it. Random song of the day is Craig Davis, 7 Days. I've listened to this song for so long, but I was talking to Booba about it the other day, and it was simply saying, this man bagged this chick and knocked it off in a matter of a day and a half. because he met her on Monday, right? So I bet he got the number. Drinks on Tuesday, and then he decided, hey, I'm going to be a respectable gentleman. I'm going to take you home. But then on Wednesday, she probably hit him up like, hey, do you want to go out again? And then on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it was just knocking boots. But then Sunday, he's like, ugh, I'm tired of shit. But the man bagged it. Tuckered that man out, and now they chilling. What a champ. My random subject of the day is about phones. Every now and again, we talk about it like, as people, as millennials. But certain phones we used to have, mostly when it comes to either the Chirp Nextels, which are wild era, like high school when you have a new one, you have a new Chirp every i730, i830, the one that clack, clack. People hate it when you did that. But when people like chirp you in class and you're like, yo, my boy, what you doing? I'm in class just like you. What the hell are you talking about? Then also the old school flip phones, only love them because it was the greatest way to hang up on somebody. Like, what? Fuck you. Clack. And then be on about your day. And also, they didn't barely ever broke. And then also, my personal favorite, the BlackBerry with the Bali. Like, if you told me right now, I could have everything in my phone right now, it was just the BlackBerry with the Bali, I'd do it immediately. But credit to Diana, she reminded me about when you used to have the phone and people would be talking shit, and you would just hold the button and be like, boo, huh? I didn't hear you. Boo. What would you say? I used to have my own phone line because it was the days of the dial-up, and my dad hated picking up the phone and be like, get off the phone. So I had my own phone line. I used to do that shit to all the people. What'd you say, huh? I don't know. It's just a weird-ass memory. Again, it's good times. Big ups to the first state. Stay focused and be great. Take a sip. Much love from the kid. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your life. Stay chill. Don't forget to check your fantasy scores because I lost by 2 and it was bullshit.